There's something most men never realize until it's too late. She may say it's over, she may block you, ignore you, or even date someone new. But that doesn't mean she's let go of you emotionally. Because here's the truth. When a woman is truly done with you, you'll feel it. It won't be loud, it won't be dramatic, it'll be silent, peaceful, and permanent. But when she's not done, when she's still emotionally attached, you'll notice signs. Tiny things, micro-expressions, strange behaviors that don't match her words. And if you're not paying attention, you'll either misread it as manipulation, or worse, assume she's moved on, when her heart hasn't even caught up yet. So let's stop the guesswork. Let's talk about the real signs, the undeniable clues that she's still emotionally connected to you, even if she pretends she's not. These aren't based on wishful thinking. They're based on psychological patterns, female emotional wiring, and what actually happens when a woman's heart hasn't healed. Now, before we start, here's something you need to understand. Attachment doesn't always mean love. It means you still live in her emotional system, in her memory, her habits, and her subconscious triggers. You are, whether she admits it or not, a part of her emotional DNA. So how do you know? How can you tell if she's still emotionally tied to you, even if she says she's over it? Well, it's not in what she says. It's in what she does when she thinks you're not looking. Let me show you the 10 undeniable signs that she's still attached. If even 2 or 3 of these apply to your situation, you're not crazy. She hasn't let you go yet. Let's dive in. 1. She keeps tabs on you. Without making it obvious, she might unfollow you, mute you, or even block you, but that doesn't mean she stopped watching. In fact, some of the most emotionally attached women will pretend like they're gone, only to keep a secret eye on everything you do. She might use a fake account. She might view your stories without showing up on your viewers list. She might keep tabs through your friends, watching who you hang out with, where you go, or what you post. This is her emotional attachment working in the background. It's not about obsession. It's about incomplete closure. She still feels the need to monitor your life because she hasn't emotionally separated her identity from yours. It's like a reflex, a form of emotional muscle memory. She might act like she's indifferent in public, but deep down, she wants to know if you still look happy, if you still think about her, if you're hurting too. Real detachment doesn't monitor the past, but when she still keeps an invisible string tied to you, it means part of her heart hasn't let go. 2. Her mood shifts when you're mentioned. Whether it's a casual conversation with friends or a deeper heart-to-heart with someone she trusts, pay attention to how she reacts when your name comes up. If she gets tense, fidgety, defensive, overly positive, or cold, that's emotional weight. Emotionally detached people speak about the past with neutrality. They might acknowledge the experience, maybe even smile about it, but they don't feel much anymore. But if your name makes her voice crack, if her eyes shift, her tone tightens, or her energy changes in any way, that's a dead giveaway. That means she still has emotional residue connected to your memory, that even after everything, her body still reacts to the thought of you. Her nervous system, her subconscious mind, they're not done processing you. And sometimes, she doesn't even notice she's reacting. But if you do, you'll realize she's still holding on to something she hasn't healed from. 3. She brings you up randomly, or avoids talking about you completely. People usually assume talking about an ex means someone isn't over them. And while that's sometimes true, the opposite can be just as telling. If she talks about you out of nowhere, brings up something you said, something you liked, a place you went together, that's not a coincidence. That's you living rent-free in her memory. But if she completely avoids any mention of you, even in situations where it'd make sense to reference you, that can also mean emotional attachment. Why? Because she's repressing. She might feel vulnerable even saying your name. It might trigger sadness, anger, longing, or regret. So rather than talk about it, she dodges it entirely. She tries to erase you from her speech because she hasn't erased you from her soul. Neutral people can say your name without flinching. But if she either can't stop mentioning you or won't mention you at all, That's not detachment. That's emotional entanglement. 4. She posts coincidentally timed content. This is a modern phenomenon, but it reveals a deeper truth. If you notice she posts cryptic quotes, sad songs, or perfectly timed glow-up selfies right after you post something, you're not paranoid. You're witnessing her subconscious trying to reach yours. When a woman posts a breakup quote a day after seeing your new relationship photo, it's not subtle. It's targeted. Maybe not to you directly, but to the version of you she thinks is still watching. When she shows herself partying or living her best life. After months of silence, ask yourself this: why now? Why right after you posted something similar? It's emotional mirroring. It's her way of telling you, I'm still here. I still matter. I'm not hurting, even though I am. Social media becomes her last weapon of emotional communication. And if you pay attention, you'll see that everything she posts, from captions to timing, has meaning behind it. 5. She keeps your things, or refuses to give them back. Let's talk about objects. If she still has your hoodie, your letters, your gifts, your little notes, those aren't just souvenirs. Those are emotional anchors. Physical representations of the connection she's struggling to release. Some women will even refuse to return your things, not because they want to hurt you, but because giving them back feels like surrender. Like giving up on the final piece of the relationship that's still real. Every time she sees that hoodie, or smells that cologne, or reads that note, she re-enters the emotional bubble of your relationship. And that's no accident. She could throw it away, but she doesn't. Because she's still attached to the meaning it holds. When she can finally box it up, donate it, or toss it out, that's when she's detached. Until then, she's still clinging to the version of you that lives in that item. 6. She compares every new guy to you. You've been replaced on the surface, but not in her heart. That's what emotional attachment does. It leaves your ghost in her relationships. She might go on dates, get into something new, even post pictures. But deep down, she's measuring every new man against you. Does he make her laugh like you did? Does he listen to her the way you used to? Does he protect her in the same way? If the answer's no, she starts to feel the absence of what you brought into her life. And the more she compares, the more she realizes that her connection with you still lingers, even if she never admits it out loud. This is why rebound relationships are rarely clean, because emotional memory is powerful. And until she clears yours out of her system, she's not fully present with someone new. So if you hear she's moved on, but also hear she's constantly comparing or complaining that it's not the same, that's a sign she's not emotionally done with you yet. 7. She randomly reaches out for no real reason. Hey, just checking in. I saw something that reminded me of you. Hope you're doing well. These might seem like innocent messages, but when they come out of nowhere, especially after a long silence, they're signals. She's testing the emotional waters. Emotionally attached women reach out, not because they want something specific, but because they want to feel something familiar. They miss the emotional connection, the comfort, the validation, the way you used to respond. So they send a ping, a small message, and wait. If you reply warmly, it soothes them temporarily. If you don't reply, it might sting, but it confirms they're still emotionally tied to your response. It's not always about rekindling. Sometimes, it's just about not feeling invisible to someone who once mattered that much. That reach out, it's more than just curiosity. It's emotional residue, trying to breathe. 8. She remembers things you forgot. She brings up dates, jokes, shared memories, even things you barely recall. That's not just a good memory. That's emotional priority. We tend to remember what we're emotionally connected to. And if she remembers your favorite snack, your childhood story, the name of your dog, or what you wore on a random Tuesday, it's because she still places emotional value on those details. She hasn't deleted your chapter from her internal narrative. In fact, she might replay it often. Not because she can't move on, but because she hasn't wanted to yet. Memory isn't just cognitive, it's emotional. And if you live vividly in hers, even after all this time, that's proof she hasn't let go. 9. Her friends still act weird around you. Sometimes the people closest to her reveal what she's too proud or scared to show. If her friends act strange when you're around, nervous, awkward, overly friendly, or protective, it might mean they know she's still not over you. Maybe she vents to them. Maybe she cried about you. Maybe she admitted she still checks your page or thinks about texting you. Friends absorb the emotional leftovers, so when you walk into a room, they reflect her unresolved feelings. They might look at you like you're still important, or they might act like you never existed, because they're trying to protect her heart. Either way, her emotional state leaks through them, and if they're still treating you like a chapter that matters, she probably still thinks you do. 10. She hasn't found peace, only distractions. You'll know she's emotionally attached when she's busy, but not fulfilled. She might dive into work, friendships, travel, hobbies, but if all of it feels like running instead of healing, it shows. Healing brings calm, detachment brings silence. But distractions, they bring noise. If she's constantly doing, but never really being, she hasn't processed you. Look at her lifestyle. Is it full, but not grounded? Is she always busy, but never really present? That's not peace. That's her avoiding the storm she still carries inside. Because emotionally attached people don't always cry. Sometimes they keep dancing through the pain, posting through the longing, smiling through the loss. But it's still there. And if she hasn't found peace, it means she hasn't truly let you go. Conclusion. Here's the brutal truth. Emotional attachment doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. It shows up in the little things. Her silence, her avoidance, her reactions, her timing. And if you pay close attention, you'll realize something. She might be over you on the surface, but deep down, a piece of her still bleeds where your name used to live. If you notice any of these signs, don't just brush it off. Know that there's still a thread connecting her heart to yours, whether she admits it or not. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever been in this situation where someone acted detached, but the signs told a different story? Drop your experience in the comments. I read every single one, and if it hits hard, I might even reach out personally. Because these stories, they matter. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Let's be clear. Emotional attachment is invisible, but powerful. It lingers in the silence. It echoes through her choices. It hides behind her "I'm fine" and her "I've moved on." But if you know the signs, if you watch her actions more than her words, you'll see it. You'll see that she's still connected to you in ways even she can't explain. Now here's the most important question. What do you do with that information? Do you chase her again? Do you try to fix what was broken? Do you wait for her to come back? No. You keep growing. You keep healing. You let her deal with her emotions while you master yours. Because emotional attachment doesn't mean reconciliation. It means she still feels something. But that doesn't always mean she's ready for something real. If she wants to heal, she will. If she wants to come back, she will. But your job is to evolve into the kind of man who never needs her to come back to feel whole. Because that, right there, is when she feels your value the most. When you don't chase, when you don't break, when you don't beg for clarity, that's when she feels the deepest loss. And that's when you realize you were the one holding all the emotional power the whole time.